resources, and that was not possible in that game with Ritual Beasts. However, I do think we are about to hop into our grand finals, Quantal against Bronas, game number 1.
Let's get it on. Get your game on, duelists, because the grand finals is about to happen. Let's see who goes first. This is a very important factor, as we figured out. And Quantal has continued his record here of starting games.
That is true, and it is also the okay. It's a good start to have. The thing is here, we do know Bronas has the Tenpai Dragons in the lineup, so there is a chance that that's the deck here.
Yeah, but I think that maybe going for Tenpai Dragons as the first deck to play is perhaps the better strategy here, because if you are forced to play it in the second or third game, your opponent can one time choose to let you go first, and then in the other game, just Snake Eye you.
It is the quote-unquote better deck to get out of the way first, because then you're not going to give him perfect information.
Bronas with the Fuwalos here. Double Fuwalos here. Doesn't even wait for the result. There is a Called by the Grave if Quantal read
that would have been a that would have been a massive read though. Letting the first Fuwalos just okaying it, and then waiting for a second one is a massive gamble as well. That was an oak from the hand though.
Oh wow.
That was an oak from
the 500 IQ play from Quantal is just drawing poorly against the deck, and I mean, that's still 3 cards.
It's still very annoying here. Like, the thing is, yes, we didn't get him through 2 draws with the Snake Eye Oak here, but where do we go from here? Anything from the extra deck is just going to be 2 draws.
Yeah, that's very, very tough here. We're going with the Golem. It does a decent job at playing around. The Wedge Temple also not too valuable. You kind of never want to get rid of your Temple. Sometimes you have to, but it's a valuable tool as well.
Yeah.
But it's also not very valuable if you can't get anything from the extra deck out.
I do think this at least puts up a 4th monster here, so we do have the option to just make a very big Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess for quote-unquote just 2 draws for the opponent. So that would just reset Bronas to 5 cards in hand.
Oh, and I'm not sure if I love this one now, because you could go for an Appaloosa. Oh, Nibiru the Primal Being is chained to the triple Tactic Tens. Now this is huge, because if there is only one starter, I think you can only pass here.
It's a risky Nibiru from Bronas as well, because this basically enables Quantal to just say, I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to do anything. There's no starters here. I think I have an idea of what we're going to shuffle back here. I think that we are okay with them having a driver, and that basically just puts it all on the top card of the deck for Bronas. I cannot imagine Quantal giving him any more draws here. I think we're just gonna leave it at this.
Yeah, I think taking the 50-50 here is better than going for somehow an IP Masquerena and pass. There, I think we're okay. We're also
you're not going to give them 2 draws here when you know they have a driver in hand. That's it. And this is where the Oak from hand play could really come back to bite Bronas here, because if this is not a playable card, then we're going to have a problem. We're going to find out in a second. It's Fable Lurry, though. That's good.
So Bronas actually going to play... Wait, this is actually Snake Eyes.
This does work. This does work because we have the Nibiru on the field as an additional body that we can link into the sequence in a second if all this works. Of course, the question now is, does Quantal have any disruptions in hand here? We do know one of the 2 cards in hand is a Wedju Temple. What is that last unknown card for Quantal here? Because that's going to decide. I think that's going to decide who's going to come out on top in this first game.
Definitely, but also I've been saying this last game to the people in the crowd as well, or last match from Bronas versus Kaito. If you're not starting with your Tenpai deck and you win the first game, you're not at the biggest of advantages. Because then you have to play, especially in this matchup, Tenpai twice versus Snake Eye and then versus Ritual Beast.
That is true, yeah. That is a good point, and the Tenpai deck is definitely going to be a factor here for game 2 and 3. First of all, we're going to have to get game 1 out of the way, though, because that's not done yet. We do still have to take it. We are looking good here. It does look like there was no Ash Blossom to counter the Requiem, because that would have been used. No Effect Veiler on the sequence, so it does look like Bronas will get to pull off the combo here.
There's actually something else I want to point out. We've seen Nibiru in the Tenpai deck of Bronas, and we've seen Nibiru here in the Snake Eye deck. So do you think it's just a cross-out target, or is it actually a shared card?
You might be onto something. It might just be a 1-of in this deck and maybe 2 in the Tenpai, and he's just drawn the 1-of here in over 40 cards, but sometimes that happens, you know?
Sometimes a 1-of is all you need. 2 Nibirus in hand don't do anything.
It's once per turn anyways, you know?
Yeah, and now I think that Promethean Princess is going to try and summon out Snake Eye Ash. What a card.
It is indeed a card, and that is going to be the case here. Promethean Princess brings back the Snake Eye Ash.
Oh, are we going to see effect there? No, no response window for Quantal here. Snake Eye Ash is going to resolve, and we all know what that means. Snake Eye Ash spells disaster for every opponent when it resolves. Oh,
ooh, okay. That is one of the more interesting ones here for Quantal to have. He's definitely happy to have something here, because if this was just completely uninterrupted, we would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Still, this is probably the worst one out of the things you could have had.
Yeah.
Because it is the one that allows us to play at least somewhat.
Yeah.
But still, we're going to have to wait and see if there's a way around this. Hita the Fire Charmer, of course, when it's Snake Eye against Snake Eye, massive potential.
Yeah, but let's see if there's also targets in the graveyard. Currently, there is, of course.
There is a Snake Eye Ash, yeah.
That one doesn't do too much, but it's a body. It's a free body, and that is very strong.
It also, just most importantly, it allows you to link off the Promethean Princess into a different fire monster without too much of a problem.
Yep. Now we get the sequence back, and I think that we're ready for a Doom Dragon. We've seen Bronas do this time and time again, just taking 2 monsters from the Spell and Trap Zone to summon out the Doom Dragon, and then just, without any fancy plays, without bigger interruptions to set up, just go for game in 1 turn. This time around, we don't have access to the Divine Temple of the Snake Eyes, which grants you a little bit of a more of a oomph in your attacks.
Yeah, there's a few things here that I feel like are massive for this position for Bronas. It's the fact that Quantal has paid 2,000 life points for one of the Millennium cards already.
Yeah.
So we do not have to do the full 8,000. The other thing is the fact that those Snake Eye monsters are in defense position right now for Quantal, so they are very easy to run over with Snake Eye Ash. 2 Snake Eye Ash, actually. I don't know when is the last time I've seen 2 Snake Eye Ash on the same field.
It's been a while. It's glorious times, though.
Yeah, good times.
Alright, Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon, the boss monster. An incredible monster.
And here's the thing, we're just moving. We're moving these monsters out of the way one by one, and we're almost there already. We almost have enough damage already.
Wait, we haven't gone through Lacrima yet, right? Because we paid 2,000, and this is 4,850 damage on the field right now if you were to attack.
If we attack in that order, we can do exactly enough to do that, yeah.
Even 50 more.
Have we gone through sequence, though?
I don't.
It was equipped to the Engraver, right?
Yeah, true. But when did we Lacrima?
We haven't. We just summoned it and didn't use its effect, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, I think so, because we needed more targets for something. Wild.
I'm not entirely sure.
Wait, I can check the graveyard. I forgot about that.
It is in the graveyard. There's no
sequence.
fusions. I mean, we did make the Beatrice, though. No, we did make the Beatrice. We did fuse.
True. All right, then we just decided to not activate the Lacrima here. Do we have used the normal summon Lurry, right? So no tracked here that could summon out the Lacrima again.
Yes, we did normal summon Lurry, and that means that we're not gonna win this turn, I don't think.
Ooh, that is big for Quantal here. Just hanging on 1,150 life points is very, very difficult spot to win from. But if your opponent doesn't do anything more, it's manageable.
Definitely not the life total you want to be at when it's against Fiendsmith. On top of that, it's also gonna disable the. It's gonna disable. Oh, if we hit Fiendsmith tracked here, we might just have it.
Ooh, that would be crazy.
Did not do that.
Nope. And we all know the last card in hand for Bronas is the Psy-Frame Driver, which is not gonna drive us to victory by itself. It needs a little bit of
Taking the
help.
opponent's Diabell Star is neat, though. That's gonna give us access to some more sinful spoils. And funnily enough, if we did this main phase 1, we might have just been able to do it, you know?
Yep, that definitely looks like it, because now you can summon out Snake Eye Oak, which we haven't accessed so far, right? We have added Poplar with Snake Eye Ash, so we haven't gone through Oak. Nope, there it is. That would have been, I think, a lot more damage. Yeah, you're right.
I think we would have had it if we did this earlier. Of course, something that we didn't know, it wasn't guaranteed, because the zombie vampire, you never know exactly what's going to happen with it. So I do understand the move there to just take the damage while you can, while it's guaranteed. We still have the ability to set up quite a decent board here in main phase 2, so I'm not too worried about that. But still, Quantal going to see another turn here, and that's going to make it way more intense than it maybe needed to be. But I mean, of course, I like when games are intense, so it's I'm not complaining about it at all. I like it.
Definitely. What I'm questioning right now is you want to definitely decimate the follow-up that Quantal has. We know about the original Sinful Spoils, and we know about the Wedju Temple in hand. Wedju Temple, not the strongest in this position, but the Sinful Spoils definitely is. So we're going for Nightmare Phoenix to target the original, the Diabellstar.
That is a massive one to get rid of.
We didn't use Temple. I think we used that in the beginning, right?
That was already used, yeah.
Okay,
that's the one that summoned the Snake Eye monsters and at the beginning of the turn. And Nightmare Phoenix, the fact that it's not co-linked here does not matter because we're on the Droll and Lockbird anyways, so don't have to worry about that.
And Driver was useful for something.
That's the thing, yeah. With the Driver in this deck, there's always something you can use it for. You'll always find a way. IP Masquerena is a decent setup here.
Yeah, and it is actually in a position where SP Little Knight can't be threatened by Battle Phase.
Yes, we can. If we do link into an IP Masquerena, co-linked with a Nightmare Phoenix, we are not able to do anything about that. There's also a Promethean Princess in the graveyard, which you can put in line with that SP Little Knight as well.
Oh, that is true. Now, I'm very curious to see what happens next, because, we're going into the Doom Dragon ourselves here.
That's going to force the IP Masquerena out. We're going to have to use it early here. Going to have to see if that's going to be enough, though, because, of course, IP Masquerena can just make a SP Little Knight to banish that Snake Eyes Doom Dragon right away.
Yeah, but then you have original Sinful Spoils in hand. And that one can send Wedju Temple. But do we even have good targets in the deck here? Snake Eye Ash is already gone. Oak is also gone. Oh, Poplar is also gone. I don't even think that Quantal has any kind of targets here. This is looking splendid right now for Bronas, if I'm not completely mistaken. Alright. So, we're going to see what we're bringing in here. Yes, of course, the SP Little Knight makes much more sense than Apollousa, because Apollousa can't co-link itself next to the Nightmare Phoenix, banishing the Doom Dragon. What is the, as we call it, OSS, Original Sinful Spells, doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Nightmare Phoenix and SP Little Knight, a threat here, and that's the easiest battle phase of my life.
This was a very back and forth and exciting game. I was like, when the double Fuval was resolved, I was like, Bronas just got it. And then the Oak came out the hand. I was like, now Quantal's ahead after the talents. But then the perfect card off the top for Bronas here enables him to play through a Drone and Lockbird and take the first game of our grand finals. So players are going to be setting up for game number 2 now. And we're going to have to see, of course, for Bronas, we know what that means. We know there's only one deck left that they have to win with. For Quantal, it's back to the drawing board. Both decks still need to take a win.
Yep, but for Bronas, I think for everyone, it's now out of their hands. It's now all about Chandra, and if Chandra wants to win this or not, Bronas has emphasized this.
He said it in the beginning. Chandra takes and Chandra gives, and he thinks that Chandra is going to give it for them today, and we're going to see if that's the case. But Quantal obviously has a thing to say about that. He does not want to go down in this finals. He does want the first place trophy, and he's going to either cue the Ritual Beast or the Snake Eye deck now to try and take down the Tenpai deck 2 times in a row.
So now that you've seen that Bronas in the semifinals is on a more hand trap build with the Tenpai deck, do you let them go first?
It's harder to exploit that version of the deck, because even if you let them go first and they make a Hieratic Seal and they have like 2 to 3 maybe interruptions behind it, it's still difficult. Surprisingly, I still think it's better for you than going first yourself most of the time. It depends on your deck a little bit. I do think with Ritual Beast, it's like a little, it's a little risky, because we've seen those Molcharmies. The Maxi is also somewhere, and those cards are, if you just don't have an answer to them, they're so rough to play into for the Ritual Beast deck. So if I had to guess, I think it'd be Quantal trying to go second with Ritual Beast to just avoid that Molcharmy situation.
Oh yeah, I can see that happening, definitely. All the Molcharmies are so good against Ritual Beast.
All of them.
Even Meowth that isn't even in Master Duel yet.
It just summons from everywhere, so like any Molcharmy is going to be good against it. You normal summon 3 times or something, so that's really good. Summon from Banished all the time, summon from Extra deck a decent amount, so yeah, it's rough.
I think the duelists also are quite ready soon, so I can't wait to see how this turns out. If Ritual Beast wants to go second, that would be one of the wildest things I've ever seen in Master Duel. Or if Snake Eye maybe wants to go second, Snake Eye could also go first. It's basically a big mind game right now, but who doesn't care about the mind game? It's Bronas, because he's just going to run Tenpai anyways.
Yeah, he's got no decision to make. Essentially, he knows what deck he needs to take a win with. The decision on who's going to go first or second is on Quantal right now. So I do think that's just going to be, he's just going to sit back, let his opponent make all the decisions and see if Chandra gives.
Yeah, exactly. He also doesn't want to make any decisions during the game because it's all about Chandra. I don't know why it's just Chandra and why Pydra and Fadra.
They're all playing a big role, yeah.
Exactly. They are the most iconic trio of Yu-Gi-Oh, as I like to say. Or do you have a better one in mind?
I mean, right now, in this day and age, I feel like the only one that rival it would be Ash, Oak, and Poplar at this point.
Yeah, I can see that, but I don't feel like they are such a trio, you know? For some reason, I don't know.
Sure.
It's weird for me, but the Duel is already...
There's definitely not 3 of them, which would make them a trio. I feel like the definition of a trio is pretty clear, but okay.
I think you're right there. Maybe I'm just weird like that, you know? Okay, let's go into Game 2 of the Grand Finals of the Challenger Cup final here at the 3rd anniversary of Master Duel in Malaga. And Bronas is going to start with the gold sarcophagus.
That's going to give us a beautiful card in 2 turns from now.
Oh, definitely. Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. Haven't seen that one in quite a while, except for in the Tenpai deck, of course.
It is very present in the Tenpai deck to just add that little bit of extra consistency through the gold sarcophagus. Pydra adds Sangan Summoning, and that's going to add again Roku. We are going to discard a card from our hand, and that's going to be a second copy of Genroku, I assume. Yep. That'd be a weird play otherwise.
Has it ever happened to you that you discarded the wrong Genroku?
It makes you nervous whenever that happens. You know, I haven't played that much Tenpai, but whenever I do and this happens, you're like double, triple checking to see which one's the right one that I've just added.
Oh, and that is a Sangenpai Bident Dragon. We're almost there. This is almost full Tenpai combo here.
Just no battle phase this turn, unfortunately, which is, I feel like, an essential key piece to the full Tenpai combo.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know that you're not that kind of a player. You don't like battle phases as much as other players.
Sometimes I skip them, you know. Sometimes I just forget.
Oh, we have a set card as well. That's an extender. Oh, and we have Nibiru, the primal being.
It's a very funny Nibiru.
Do we have 2 seals? Because then we can maybe go into another seals. Because seals now activates an effect when it's tributed. Because it's a heretic card. To special summon another dragon from deck.
That's going to be a Fadra, and that Fadra is going to revive something.
Do we have another seal?
It'd be so funny. It'd be the most pointless Nibiru, the primal being.
Put some monster in with 0 attack into the field and attack.
To be honest, it still is. I mean, you're already lucky to get to resolve a Nibiru against Tenpai.
Yeah, that's true. And also, honestly, it helps you with the Fiendsmith combo if you're playing.
It's still, you still have the Nibiru on the field, yeah. And there was no second seals, so it actually was worth a decent amount. Yeah. We're gonna have to wait and see how well Bronas' hand is gonna hold up for Quantals here, because of course we're starting the turn with a 3000 attack Nibiru on the board already. And there's also a 0 attack token. Dominus Impulse, though, new card from the newest selection pack. Massive impact here is going to stop that Sengenjin. No trap card in the graveyard, though, means it's going to stay in that spell trap zone to be fodder for future effects.
That is actually very relevant. You can't special summon it out here. In most decks, you would say that is not that strong, but in this case, it really is Diabellstar the Black Witch as big follow-up immediately afterwards. Bronas is just sitting on a face-down card here and a Fadra and Genroku. Yesterday in the Influencer tournament, in the Invitational, I don't know, Fadra and Pydra seemed like an unbreakable board with floodgates, but this time around I have a feeling that Quantal might be able to break that field.
There's definitely a chance we're going to be able to navigate around this. It's also worth noting that sending the Poplar for Diabellstar is a really powerful move, because that would be, like, that means you're not afraid. You know, it means you're not afraid because that could have been your backup normal summon. And he's just saying, I don't need that. I can just send it for Diabellstar to get the Doom Dragon out immediately. That's going to solve the Fadra problem. And we already have a massive amount of damage on the field. Original Sinful Spoils has been set, and we presumably even have a good normal summon in hand.
Yep, Fadra, a part of the Tenpai Dragon trio, utterly confused right now because it's not used to be a spell card.
And a lot of Tenpai decks also choosing to run one of that these days, which is definitely a pain to deal with if that's in your spell trap zone, because you kind of need that.
Yep, that is true. Is there a way to get into the graveyard? I mean, Black Rose Dragon is, of course...
There's a Forbidden Droplet in a decent amount of... Which can sometimes be a bit punishing when you put stuff in their spell and trap zone, but that's about it.
It counts as a spell card then, right?
It does count as a... For Droplet, it counts the original type only.
Oh, really?
I think it says on Droplet original card type, so it would still be a monster.
The more you know.
Yeah.
And also the Nibiru coming in super clutch here, because I don't know the other 2 cards in Quantal's hand, but... The extra body right now was necessary.
Also, just the seals being gone was pretty big. Yeah, seals would have been very annoying here.
With a suboptimal hand here. And I Oh, we have the original Sinful Spots. Yeah, of course, we set it with the GL Star Blackwish, so
Ooh, where'd that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. Snake Eye Ash resolving once again. I mean, there could still be an impermanence, but what would it do at this point?
This is not the most threatening Snake Eye Ash anyways, because the Poplar is not in the deck. You're not even activating it. Yeah, it's not even activated here. Which maybe means Oak is in hand, which would explain sending the Poplar earlier.
Yep, that's true. Have we normal summoned? No, right?
No, we still have the normal summon for a potential Snake Eye Oak, which at this point I feel like is guaranteed to be in hand. Otherwise, we would have grabbed it off the Snake Eye Ash.
Why is Quantal always drawing Snake Eye Oak?
He's just built different.
Yeah, that's true.
He might be on 3 Oaks.
Oh, that's a good idea. I mean, after the limitation of Snake Eye Ash and Poplar, you have to play some Snake Eye cards, right?
You do have to play some Snake Eye cards. It's part of the trio, you know?
It's the trio of Snake Eye Oak, and Snake Eye Oak. All right. Another times Snake Eye Oak resolving. There's only 1 card left in hand, so that means that was a normal summon. We go for Flamebird Dragon.
And one of the cards that I feel like would have had to come down here for Bronas was Nibiru the Primal Being, which could have turned this entire thing around, but was not summoned. And now that the Flamberge is on the field, I feel like it's unlikely that that's a card that's in hand. You would have probably prevented that Flamberge Dragon if you had it.
Yep, that is true. Flamberge Dragon, once it's on the field, the effect of being sent to the graveyard and special summoning out 2 fire level 1 monsters from the graveyard is pretty powerful. Now Flamberge is activated to put the Biden Dragon into the spell and trap zone from the graveyard.
Gotta remember that one, because if you attack 3 times, it can come back. Also, I just realized that Nibiru the Primal Being is not something you have to be worried about, because Dominus Impulse has been used from hand.
True.
And that means we can play a lot safer under Nibiru. We don't have to actually respect it this turn.
Bronas didn't even have to do that. He could have set this card.
Could have set it. Probably just didn't want the opponent to know there was something. There's always this surprise factor with it, but yeah, could have set it.
Poplar is now being activated. I completely forgot that we haven't even done that yet. Droplet is being activated.
And we just gave him a whole bunch of free fodder for that.
That's true. The Biden Dragon is going to be in the graveyard again. So that's a bit unfortunate on that part here. I wonder how much it does, because we haven't even activated Sequence in Graveyard yet to possibly let Desiree negate the Droplet, even though that wouldn't work anyways because it's original type.
We're going to stop this here because we are kind of forced to stop the Promethean Princess anyways. Yeah. So we might as well take the Poplar down with it as well. Fiendsmith Sequence is now going to equip to the Desiree.
Ooh. That makes things a lot more interesting.
That makes things very tricky, not only because that's going to disrupt the Desiree, that's going to put another body in the way of attacking for game this turn, and it also is going to guarantee follow-up.
Yeah, but Promethean Princess is negated right now, so you're not locked into fire anymore, and there's a card that I have almost forgotten about it. Apollousa Bao, the Goddess, could pose a big threat here for Bronas.
It is definitely a threat. It always is, of course. There's still a lot of stuff to be dealt with, though, for Quantal's side here. We're going to have to think about what kind of cards Bronas could add in the end phase with a Bestial Magnamute here. Sangan Summoning kind of wants to be dealt with, because you don't really want to leave that card on the field as well, because that's going to make stuff way harder to be interacted with. So, yeah, it's interesting.
So we don't have the Requiem in the graveyard anymore as well. Fiendsmith Desiree is not in the best position. Do we have a Light Fiend in the graveyard? No, we actually do not have a Light Fiend in the graveyard to activate the effect in the graveyard. So that could have been an out to the Sangan Summoning, possibly.
There we go. We do really want that Light Fiend, as you pointed out. Moon of the Closed Heaven is going to be the solution to that. Oh, we're just playing. I don't know if there's an Underworld Goddess here, but that would be pretty hype.
Definitely try to activate your effects. Maybe your opponent panics and chains Genroku and then something happens. But
there is actually an Underworld Goddess.
There you go.
I knew that.
We have dealt with stuff now.
that just wins, right? The Nibiru token being in attack position, if I'm counting, that is 8,800 damage here. Wonderful showcase of the power of Moon of the Closed Heaven alongside the Underworld Goddess here.
Oh, called by the grave for the Genroku. There was never a threat for Quantal.
It also just, we're going to take out the Biden here just to show that we had an answer for that as well. And that is going to be the equalizer here. Quantal is not going to give up that easily. We're going to take down Bronas here in game number 2, and that's going to bring us to a very exciting game 3. We've seen both of their decks before. This is going to be Ritual Beast against Tenpai Dragon for the 3rd game here. And I think it's going to be Bronas most likely going second and trying to stop that Ritual Beast combo. Of course, Ritual Beast, a dangerous deck to go second against with Tenpai.
Yeah,
traditionally a very, very strong matchup for the Ritual Beast deck, as you might remember from one of the Duelist Cups where Tenpai was a very dominant deck. There was a lot of players exploiting that with Ritual Beasts and doing really well in that tournament.
But the question is now, how good are you set up with the hand trap variant of Tenpai Dragon if you would go first? If Quantal can't choose right now, so basically Bronas can say, hey, I think Seals Pass plus hand traps might be enough to stop the Ritual Beast deck, and that gives me a higher chance of winning.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision to make because at the end of the day, the Ritual Beast deck is not that bad at playing through disruptions, you know? Like, they have these ways to gain extra normal summons and stuff like that, and I feel like you'd have to interrupt them very early and just hope they can't play through it, which if you go first and they have 6 cards, it's difficult. I feel like you'd be better off just going second and hoping you draw that Molcharmi Fuvalos or Maxi or other ways to disrupt them, of course. Nibiru is a card that's historically very good against the Ritual Beast deck. That's also there.
That is true.
So I can't imagine Bronas picking first here. I think it's way more reliable and safer to do what the Tenpai deck does best, and that's go second.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I mean, traditionally, Tenpai Dragons have been very good at OTK.
They are very good at it. However, Ritual Beast, obviously, depending on how you build it, has some very good tools for that matchup. We're thinking Arc Nemesis, Protoss, Call Fire is one of the best things you can do against Tenpai. So we absolutely need a way to stop that from happening. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble.
I mean, we have seen Thunder Dragon Colossus in the deck list of Quantal. So what do you think about that? How good is that? Because you're not playing versus the Sky Striker variant, where you can imagine it's a little bit better.
Yeah. It's still pretty annoying, I would say. You know, you obviously do cut off a decent amount of their ways to start playing. They still have some, but if the only way they have to start playing is that Sangan Kaiman or Sangan Summoning, can't go through that. And Pydra as a starter also doesn't work because it gets you to exactly those cards that do not work against Colossus. So it's basically limiting your opponent to, you better draw Genroku or Chundra, or you're not going to be able to do it against the Colossus. We're going to find out in a second who's going to go first, because we're hopping into Game 3 of the finals. Last match of the day.
I am super excited for this one, because we're now going to see who starts and who takes it all in the third anniversary. In Quantal has selected to go second, so we're actually going to see...
Bronas wants to go first here.
A Tenpai combo start. Gold Sarcophagus is already a nice start here. We're going to see our Blaster again.
You know, something you can do with the Tenpai deck is you can potentially... Ash Blossom on Blaster, that's good. It's Chain Kaiman, though. Not going to stop me from playing today. What I was going to say is, if you draw a card like Molcharmi Fuvalos against Ritual Beast here, a very cool play you can do is you can go Seals, and then you tribute it, and then your board is empty for just a split second, so you can still use it.
Yeah.
Which might have played into Bronas' decision here to go first, because he's like, well, if I have the Molcharmi, I'm still going to be able to use it.
Yep, that's true. Even though there is still, of course, the chance that you're going to be taken out in that turn, because your opponent is going to have a battle phase. Now Fadra is going to be used to summon out the Genroku. This time we're not going to see any Biden Dragon shenanigans, but we're going to see a Seals possibly pass immediately, if we want to play with the Molcharmis.
Not unlikely here, I think, to have a Molcharmi in hand. We set a card, though, so that will block us from using a potential Molcharmi unless we use that card first. 5 cards in hand for Quantal here. We did use that Ash Blossom, did not prevent the Seals. And now...
That's still a very good thing for Bronas, especially, right? Because if you're going first, then you want to trade cards if you have multiple engine cards in your hand.
Yeah.
Because you can't really extend your combo. Now Canahawk's being normal summoned, and you can actually activate this Quantal.
Ooh,
Droplet.
We did let that go through. That's interesting. Sending a Heavy Storm for Forbidden Droplet. The reason why that surprises me a little bit is because that Canahawk still forces your Seals in the battle phase. It still forces the attack on it. So if there is a way to extend through this, the Seals is not really going to stop it. Like, at the end of the day, you're still forced to bounce it somewhat.
I don't know. Quantal is just going in on this combo already now. The Seals might now want to immediately tribute itself. Maybe we've also activated Droplet first so we can activate a Molcharmi in hand.
Yeah, that might be a reason.
I mean, you can still activate it now when you're announcing that you want to special.
And that's what happens. You gotta love when the calls come in.
Definitely.
And that is gonna resolve. And see, that's the thing. We've went first. That has exhausted our opponent's Ash Blossom because that was there. And now we're in this position where we're very low on cards.
Dominus
We're actually on
Purge.
0 cards because of the
wow.
Dominus Purge.
That's actually huge right here, because even if that stopped the turn of Quantal, there is no turn for Bronas. So far, you've got one Kaiman out, you've got the Father out, and one Genroku. There's very few top decks you're gonna get.
But are you really going to put it all on that one card? Because if it is a Tenpai card, we might be looking at the last turn of the game. We're gonna risk it. Bronas hoping for that Tenpai card right now. Quantal just looking over.
Does Chandra give right here? Gold Sarcophagus is one turn away from
it
adding
does
Cluster.
not.
No way! Quantal gets the turn back. Bronas' plan of going second or going first has failed. The Fuwallers would have been so crucial if he let Quantal start.
Yeah. I mean, it was going to get Ash Blossomed either way because that was there. We saw that was there. That was going to be a problem. So I do think ultimately he did give himself the best chances here at doing this, because if Quantal's gone first, Ash the Fuba and just go off, there's nothing. We saw it. There was no other card to stop it.
There was a
so I think he did all he could to give him the best chances at winning. And sometimes you do everything right and it's still not enough. And now we get to see Quantal perform some impressive Ritual Beast combos. So yeah, we're gonna be here for a bit.
Yes, Ash Blossom is used on the Ritual Beast ulti Canahawk.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that is going to stop here, because I think there is plenty of follow-up. There's a Lara in the graveyard. You can, of course, always normal summon the Rampango here from hand. So this is already 3,000 damage. And look at this dominant performance. There is no cards on the field for Bronas. No cards in hand.
And that's the thing here, really. Of course, I would personally think that it's definitely possible to do 8,000 damage here with Ritual Beast. It definitely has the tools to do it. But even if you don't, even if you, let's say your timer runs low and you decide to do a different play, it's definitely possible here to just make a board that covers for any card that Bronas can draw. Because what is it going to be? If it's a Tenpai card, you cover for that, but with one interruption. If it's a non-Tenpai card, you don't have to worry about it at all. So I do think either way, Quantal is going to be most likely taking down this game unless there's a major slip up here. But knowing him, he's got the nerves for this situation. I think he's going to be just fine. There we see the Colossus that you mentioned.
I mean, that's not really a puzzle that he has to solve here. Like, sometimes going for a game is a little bit like a riddle where you have to find a solution, but there is nothing that Bronas can defend himself with.
It's like a puzzle with like 2 pieces.
So we have 6,600 damage already, and that is enough to go for a game. 1,600 from Rampangu, Ulti Apelio, Colossus, and the Noccio Drago as well. Apelio is waiting for its moment to shine. Swimming in for game here.
And Quantal is your champion of the Challenger Cup Finals.
Well, congratulations there, Quantal. You have finally won Lamau as you said you would. That must be very, very exciting. But you came in with such confidence. Were you still confident even in the final?
I believed that Chandra didn't believe in him.
Well, congratulations on getting this. You do go home with a trophy, but we're going to be giving that to you in just a moment. So I'm going to send you over there, and you're going to stand by, and then we'll do a proper ceremony in just a moment. But I think what it is important to do is acknowledge all of the people who took part in this actual final, you know, all 8 of those duelists. So we're going to get the 6 participants of the Challenger Cup final to come on up. Group A, Group B, do come and stand here before we give away this trophy. Thank you so much to all of you guys for coming up. Appreciate all of you. Congratulations on making it to the final. Commiserations that you aren't going home with a trophy, but you all deserve a place here. Congratulations on your amazing achievement, and best of luck in the future Challenger Cups. Maybe you'll be lifting that trophy in the next one. But it is important to make sure that we acknowledge that there are 2 finalists here in this. So let's talk about our first finalist. In second place, we have Bronas. Big round of applause. Bronas, you made it all the way. Take a step towards me. I told you I'm not going to bite you. You made it all the way to the final. You've gone home with a trophy. Do you feel good taking part in the first ever Challenger Cup final?
Yes, but I'm sorry to Chundra. I should have summoned you. My bad.
Well, congratulations. We're going to bring on your trophy. Lampy has it here for you. Your second place trophy with the Alt Art of Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Congratulations to your second place duelist here in the Challenger Cup Finals. But I'm going to ask you to come and step back here because it is time to crown our champion. Not only a world champion and a world's finalist, but the first ever winner of the Challenger Cup Final. It's Quantal! Congratulations. The accolades that you get just keep adding up. Is this going to go pride and place behind you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's get your trophy over here. Ibris is bringing this over. There you go, your first place trophy. Congratulations to your new champion, Quantal! Now, before we finish this, I am going to welcome on all of our content creators to come to the back of the stage here. Groups A and B from yesterday, all of whom took part. Come and stand behind everyone. It's all right. Don't be shy. Thank you very much to all of the people who took part in this. Yesterday was our invitational, but obviously today we've had the Challenger Cup Final. We appreciate every single one of you guys who took part. Congratulations to those who've gone home with trophies, but also congratulations to everyone. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've all done incredibly well. But most importantly, thank you to all of you at home. Make sure you check this out. This is the brand new asset, LZ Azamina of the White Forest. That is going to be what you experience in the next season of the Challenger Cup. And if you guys take part in that, you might be able to make your way to this very stage. We might be crowning you the champion, just like Quantal. So make sure you guys sign up and take part. Be sure to join the Discords and also check out the socials to make sure you're up to date with whenever those go live so that you might secure your place here. But let's hear one more time for your first ever Challenger Cup champion! Thank you so much to everybody who has been watching over this weekend. We appreciate all of your support. Make sure you do sign up for those Challenger Cups, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.